So, a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. I think that's the scripture. I was going to tell you a military story today. I'm going to try to keep it short because it encompasses almost all 4 or 5 years I was stationed in Ellsworth Air Force Base, South Dakota. So when I got out there, there was already a crew of other airmen, same rank as me, and one in particular, redheaded girl. I'm gonna try to use fake name just to kind of protect her because I know her first and last name, but we'll say her name is Alice Gates. Okay, same initials as her real name, but different names. I hope I don't forget to call her Gates. So if I say something else, don't go looking for this person. Gates was a weird girl. Then there were other airmen that were kind of bullyish. I mean, when you're in the military, you got to have thick skin because, I mean, people are going to pick on you. It's just a fact. And they can be childish. So Gates had red hair. She was quite the ginger. And she was very homely looking, very awkward. She would always talk to you while pulling at this little hair right here. And she had, if you ever watched the show Daria, she was very like monotone like Daria, and she would just stare through her bottle bottom glasses into your soul. I've done another video about her. She couldn't shoot. It was horrible. So Gates was just weird, and I was the kind of person back then that I had zero tolerance for anybody that I just didn't think was that entertaining. I mean, I had friends, a couple friends, Benny and Amanda, and we hung out and we went out to lunch together. Gates didn't quite fit in. And in fact, there was another airman, we'll call him Abbott. Abbott was a bully. He was just such a jerk. And he would pick on her, and she, and we would all be standing there talking. And if she walked up, Abbott had one time where he would turn to her and be like, "Really, Gates? Really? Is it that time of day for you to bug the crap out of me again?" And, I wouldn't have said that, but we laughed. And so forgive us. Gates worked with me off and on. It was about 2, 3 years. And then it came time for deployment in 2008. Gates left a few months before me. So she was already out there. And when I found out I was going out there, it was funny because my friend Benny had said, she was like, "What if you get stuck with Gates in the tent?" And I'm like, "No way." She would already have a tent mate by now. They're not going to wait 3 months and leave her alone. And they always paired people up. Well, I stuck my foot in my mouth because once I got out there, my captain was there, and he was showing me where I'd be going. And he knew I didn't care for Gates. He knew I avoided her like the plague. And in the van on the way over to Tent City, he finally turned to me and he's like, "Emma Wheeler, you know you're bunking up with Gates, right?" I was like, "You're joking. I'm going to be stuck with her for six. She couldn't even shoot. I'm going to die." It's just like, I was so mad. I was mad. And he said it's not like something we could choose. It's just a fact. You get assigned in a certain area, and we were both from the same base. They assumed that it would just be better that we both be in the same tent. And I get there, and Gates is already, bless her heart, she's already kind of got the whole tent set up the way she likes it. And I was just like, great. And she was always talking to me, "Hey, Wheels, what do you want to do for breakfast? You want to go? I usually go and get this and all this stuff." And I was just like, and so that's not even the part that this story is about. The story kind of morphs more into over the next 6 to 9 months. Gates actually left before me, so our time together was more like 6 months. My deployment was more like 8 or 9 months. She was always there. She didn't always work the same shift as me, so it wasn't too terribly bad to where we were stuck together all the time working in the same place. Yeah, we worked together too in the same unit. So she worked at nights and I worked during the days. And then when we switched schedules, I worked at nights, she worked during the days. Over there, you work 12-hour shifts with no days off. You go back and you try to shower, eat, sleep, and do what you can. And it's not a whole lot going on because you're deployed. It's not like you have to go buy groceries or run errands or get the oil changed. You have plenty time off. So when I arrive at work, then she leaves. We do a changeover. She leaves, and I don't see her the rest of it. I see her for like 5 minutes a day, and that was it. Her husband ended up getting deployed too. He was from the same base, and I was married at the time. I had a son. She wanted children. You know, we actually found out we had a lot in common. And I got to the point where I kind of got used to her. Like, even when she was talking and she was pulling on this and just like staring, and we would start telling jokes, and her dry humor actually cracked me up. I mean, just, she was just funny. And we had this little status board right outside our little tent thing that you could dry erase our status of where we're going, and we'd leave each other messages. And she wasn't a woman of the Lord, but I would say that she did kind of teach me a lot more about patience and tolerance and acceptance. I mean, once you get to know somebody, I'll tell you honestly, by the time she left deployment, I was like, as soon as I get home, we're going to dinner. We're going to go do this. And she's like, as soon as I get home, bring your son over. I'll babysit him and we'll play games and we'll do this. And yes, we were like best friends. It weirded everybody out when I got home. When I came home from deployment, first thing I did that morning was she and I went to breakfast together. And everybody's like, you went to breakfast with Gates? And I'm like, hell yeah. I mean, she's my girl. And we were really good friends. She babysat my son. She was kind of, obviously, if you haven't figured it out by now, she was quite the nerd. And so she played all these games, video games. And my son, at the age of 5 or 6, he loved it. It was great. And she was a natural. She was a natural. And as soon as we got home from deployment, she quite missed her husband, and she ended up becoming pregnant. And about that time is when I started going downhill with my military career, and I got into a lot of trouble. And that's when I found God. When I accepted Jesus into my heart, everything changed. She was still my friend. She still wanted to be my friend. But I understood that she had some reluctance. And it was because when an airman or a military person is under investigation, you have to be careful who you relate with. And I don't blame her. I was not good company. So I told her, I said, hey, if you've got to back off, I understand. I don't question her loyalty. My friends Benny and Amanda were like, we don't care. Wheeler is our friend. We're hanging out with her. We don't give a shit. And then, okay, I appreciate that kind of loyalty. But Gates, she was just getting to where she was going to make rank so that she would be promoted to a staff sergeant. It would look bad on her. I'm not making excuses for her. I was a little hurt, but I learned a lesson about life at that time. And the fact that you could completely be repulsed by somebody or just annoyed the hell out of being around them, if you give them a chance, sometimes the situation will force you into giving them a chance. And if you do, you can either just kill yourself trying to avoid it or make the best of it. And I made the best of it, and I ended up making a best friend. I did lose touch with her because there's so many people in the military that you think you're going to keep in touch with, and then you end up not. So that's okay. My son remembers being babysat by her. He still thinks about her, and I do hold a special place in my heart for her. I used to call her Red. That was her call sign. I was Wheels, she was Red, because she had this bright red hair. And if you're ever wondering like a description of what she looked like, if you saw Weasley from Harry Potter, that was her. That was Gates. She looked like Weasley. So anyways, lesson learned, you can always find a friend in somebody. Some people can be awkward, but give them a chance. You never know if you might find gold under that all that rough diamond in the rough. You never know if you're gonna find a diamond in the rough. All right, guys. I love you. I hope you're loving each other. Stay salty, and I'll do another video soon.